Hey guys, Dr. Snellgrove here. Welcome to class. And this is a thrilling video where I'm just going to walk you through our syllabus. The syllabus is now posted on Canvas. I encourage you to read along, along with the video or just review it afterwards. And of course, let me know if you have any questions. Also on your end, I'm hoping that the recording looks a little better than the Zoom screen I'm looking at now. I kind of look like a character that is sharing state secrets via a video call in a late 90s movie where they still call it the net. Anyway, let me slide this over. Two screens set up here. All right. So at the tippy top, it's got my name, Professor Dr. Chris Snellgrove. They make us go through the syllabus format, which means writing my name out like that, as in the two titles, and I always feel kind of insane. It's like if you're a Venture Brothers fan, it's kind of like Dr. Mrs. the Girlfriend. That's the vibe here. One of the first things you'll see is my email. We'll circle back to this, but email is the official form of communication at the college. So we want to encourage you to check your email on a daily basis. I promise I won't blow it up, but if there's ever any important, changes or just stuff you need to know, I'll send an email out to the entire class. Below that, though, is something even more important. That is my honest to God personal cell phone number. So I want to encourage you to text me if you have any questions, especially time sensitive questions. If you email me, I'll try to get back to you, usually in a day, maybe 2 days at the absolute most. But if you text me, you usually get a quick response. Now, I am an elder millennial, which means we don't like phone calls. So please don't call me out of nowhere. Please just text me if you have any questions. I have my office hours here, and some of y'all might find that a little weird. You're like, I'm an online student. Well, it doesn't mean you can't come see me. I'm here on the Niceville campus. The whole point of office hours is that you can just drop in. You don't need to have an appointment or anything like that. Now, speaking of appointments, though, as online students, if you want to ever just set something up, if you want to set up a phone call, a Zoom call, video, FaceTime, I don't know, whatever, just let me know. So you're not limited to physically coming in. If you need assistance, you can obviously email, you can obviously text, and we can go beyond that. It's not that I'll never talk to you on the phone. It's just if I get a weird number, calling me out of nowhere, I'm not picking that up. All right. I already seen an error on the syllabus I'll need to correct. I have class days for us. We don't really have class days or times per se as an online class, although you'll see it once we get to it. The syllabus does have a day-to-day schedule that I'd encourage you to stick with, basically just to stay on target, stay on schedule. All right, so course description. I'm not going to read all of it, but the things you need to know. We're reading a lot, and we're reading a lot. We're talking about what we've read, and we're writing about what we've read. So the textbook, which we'll get to the textbook in just a minute, is split up into fiction, drama, poetry. So we go through all of that. I'm not saying this to, to jinx any of you, but one of the things that you need to know is you have to get a C or higher in order to, move on from this class. I'm only emphasizing that because when I was in undergrad a million years ago, people would always joke, D's get degrees. And it's like, well, kind of, sort of, but in this particular case, you need a C or better. All right, there's probably a joke in there about who does or does not want the D, but it's too early for me to make it. Course level student learning outcomes. Well, you're going to work on, communication, standard American English, purpose, audience, rhetorical situation, both in what you read and what you write, principles of logic and critical thinking, and of course, effectively integrating and appropriately documenting ideas, themes, and concepts from print and or electronic sources. That's code for all of these are research papers. So there'll be a lot of citation, probably more than you did in 1101, depending on your teacher. All right, so the course material, hopefully you can see it on our potato camera here, Norton Introduction to Literature, Portable 13th edition. And so our syllabus has been built around this, as in it's got like, the exact page numbers for all these different things. Now, I don't really care how you get the book. I don't mean that in a dismissive way, but we got it in our bookstore. You can get it off Amazon. There are electronic copies. There's whole lots of information out there, rivers of information. One might say torrents of information. I don't care how you get this book. Just make sure you get this book, please. This always feels surreal. I have to use a boilerplate syllabus template that the administration provides. So it's like class attendance. I have to tell you it's important to attend class, but you're an online student. So I just put this little thing in here saying we don't have attendance per se. I'm not like, you didn't log on yesterday. How dare you? But you have to complete your assignments. You have to respond to instructor communication, and you have to participate in occasional online activities such as discussions. Between you, me, and the wall, I hate Canvas online discussions. I'm not going to make you do much of that. I think we're going to do exactly one of those just to verify your attendance. Hey, look at that world-class segue. Now we're talking about attendance confirmation. So what this is saying is there's a variety of ways to signify that you are here, right? You can, one, I'm going to set that thing up on Canvas, a little discussion thingy, but you can also email me. You can also complete activities. And I'm emphasizing all this because there will be sooner rather than later, there'll be a drop, the end of the drop ad period where students that haven't attended get dropped. And that can happen to online students. If you didn't do the online discussion thing, if you haven't completed any assignments, if you haven't communicated with me in any way, as far as we're concerned, you're not here. So that, just keep in mind, stay on top of that. There's a whole section here on classroom conduct, and you're not really going to see each other, so you'll see me on these videos, but don't leave mean comments on my YouTube. I don't know. The other thing, this is maybe a little more pertinent, perhaps, to what do you call it? Our source material. You are enrolling in a college level post-secondary class. Yada yada. The content is designed to offer a challenging, growing experience. Includes mature, wide-ranging, or different from that which is offered in a high school classroom, blah, blah, blah. Basically, there's a whole lot of words here that amount to you're not going to like everything in the book. You might even be offended by stuff in the book. I'm never going to ask you to, suddenly love this stuff, espouse beliefs different to your own, any of that kind of stuff. In fact, I joke about this a lot with the face-to-face students. When we do discussions, I say, hey, this isn't meant to be a love-in for the author. We can talk about what you hated about this story, about the author, about whatever. And I try to, we'll cross this bridge when we get there, but I try to have essays where you have some agency on the topics that you pick. And you almost always have the option to come up, with my approval, to come up with what you're writing about. So I've had students that hated the story so much, like, Dr. Stellgrove, can I write an essay about, how this should no longer be taught in the literary canon? Yeah, sure. That is also you engaging with the text. You don't have to like it to understand it. You don't have to like it to engage with it or write about it. That's a whole lot of words for don't email me when you're offended by something, isn't it? All right, grading scheme and procedures. I tried to keep it pretty simple. Oh man, I'm already looking at a thing I messed up. Oh, I am an English professor, not a math professor. I think that adds up to 90% instead of 100%. But anyways, there's essays make up the bulk of your grade. I'll get that corrected by the time you see this video. So now you just have documentation I screw up. But essays make up the bulk of what you are going to be doing. So the final drafts of the essays are a collective 60% of your overall grades. And math, even an English major like me can do. You got 3 major essays. So each essay is worth 20% of your overall grade. Now, as you write the essays, I have a listing here. 10% of your grade comes from daily assignments, right? So daily assignments, I'm not going to give you busy work, random work. Daily assignments means that you are actually completing the essay. So there'll be, for each essay, there'll be an assignment where you complete an outline and you get a grade and feedback for that. You write an intro for the essay, you get a grade and feedback on that. You write 2 or 3 body paragraphs, you get grade and feedback on that, and then you finish and submit the final draft. So I'm trying to have our cake and eat it too, where you get extensive feedback throughout the entire drafting process. You get super easy grades, as a incentive to get that done. And my hope is it makes the final product stronger. The thing that I brilliantly left off of the syllabus I'm looking at now, we're going to have reading responses that are 10% of your overall grade. And that's just to keep us honest, and they are responses. They're not like, I don't really like tests and quizzes per se, but I want to see you engaging with the material, which, again, circling back to what we said before, does not mean any kind of love in for the author or for the assignment. You want to get their asses in your reading response, you can do it. And then we have a final exam that is 20%, typically a, reflective essay. All right, I have a section here for makeup work, and there's good news and bad news. Always good news and bad news in my class. The good news, well, the bad news is there's not really makeup work in like the high school sense of the word. Like, oh, I missed this. Can I go do this completely other assignment and make it? I was like, no, you can't do that. But with that being said, you can rewrite up to 2 of your 3 major essays, right? And so that just means exactly like what it says on the can. You turn an essay, maybe you get a bad grade or just a grade where you're like, I could have done better. Well, you can get back on that horse then. You can rewrite it. You can use my feedback. You can consult with me. I'll still talk with you about, old essays, air quotes, old essays there. And when you submit the rewrite, you get a completely new grade. I don't do any of the weird averaging of your old grade and your new grade. If you had an F before and you turn in an A-level paper, you got an A now. So you got nothing to lose but time when it comes to your rewrites. And I don't say that lightly. I know as students, and and you have lives that aren't just the school assignments, time is precious commodity. But if you can devote some time to rewrites, you will get potentially a much better grade. All right, we already touched on this, instructor communication. Check your college email each day. Don't be afraid to text me if you need a quick response. I'm skipping over for now our assignment schedule. We'll circle back to that. Don't you love that corporate speak? Circle back, circle back. We'll circle back to that. But we got a section here on technical skills and specialized technology that feels a little surreal, and I'll tell you why. Sorry, I'm a caffeine junkie and a soda junkie. My videos are ersatz. Maybe I'll get a Coca-Cola sponsorship. It's probably going to pay better than what I get, right? But this always feels surreal because the main thing I need you to know is how to access Canvas. You need to be able to get into your email. You need to be able to get into Canvas. And if you're having problems, I've got an email address and a phone number here for someone you can reach out to. The part that feels silly about this is, of course, this video is on Canvas. This syllabus is on Canvas. So I've got a section on the syllabus per the administration telling you if you're having trouble, if you're watching the video on Canvas and you're having trouble getting into Canvas, you need to talk to somebody about getting into Canvas. Hey man, I just work here. Lecture recordings. This is normally the part where I would giving you, permission to record lectures in a face-to-face class, but hey, all your lectures, your online students, is just going to be like links to YouTube videos. With that being said, I don't know if I explicated this. It probably goes without saying. I know you have to have like third-party programs like Internet Download Manager to do this, but if you want to download, my lectures, I can't really imagine why you would want that, because I will keep them live on YouTube for the duration of our class, but I'm fine if you want to hang on to those for mementos. You can show them to people. You remember when this asshole couldn't add up to 100%? All right. Emergency college closure. This, again, it's part of the boilerplate syllabus, but it doesn't really affect you as online students unless you're taking some online and some, face-to-face classes. But you should know there's a variety of reasons that the college could suddenly have to close. It's almost always weather. You're Floridians, you know what it's like. So if that happens, you'll get an email from the college. If the college has your phone number, I think they'll try to text you. They might robocall. They'll pop, you'll find out. The most important thing for me to convey to you about this is I don't find out until you do. I used to have students who pester me like, Dr. Snellgrove, are they going to close down school? I don't know, man. Y'all have any idea how low I am on the totem pole when it comes to those decisions? All right. Academic continuity plan also doesn't affect you. This is basically a coded section that we added back in 2020 when COVID popped off. And so like all of our face-to-face students, they went to spring break. They didn't come back. Ooh, as in we just suddenly had to pivot to online classes. But again, you're already in online class and we're sure as hell not going to pivot you to face-to-face, so you don't have to worry about that. We got a section here encouraging you to check out the Northwest Florida State College catalog and student handbook. It basically details lots of stuff about plagiarism, cheating, stuff you need to avoid doing. It's also a fabulous bathroom reader. We've got a thing here prohibiting the use of AI tools. Some of you cynical people are already laughing, like, how are you going to keep us from doing that? I'll tell you if you really want here in a minute. But yeah, you should also know that we may run your papers through Turnitin or other services that check for plagiarism. All right, so the AI thing. I didn't put this in the syllabus because I didn't know the best way to express it, and I didn't know if the people upstairs would like how I expressed it. It's up to you to determine if I'm talking about God or maybe the administration. But I get it. I know that in my heart of hearts, I know there is not a at least I haven't found any kind of AI detector that I really trust. And I don't want to just slap like a zero on something. Oh, this thing told me you stole it. So what I'm going to be doing for really the first time in my academic career is I'm going to try to make sure all of your essays have a robust rubric attached to them that actually spells out like, hey, X number of points off for this thing, Y number of points off for this thing. It's going to include stuff that is obviously important in any kind of academic, formal writing style essay, but it's also going to include things that ding you for, well, frankly, the kind of writing that AI does. Like I have played, with the AI stuff before. It will sometimes just make up sources. It will, sometimes throw grammatical errors in there. And the biggest offender, it makes lots of grandiose statements that don't actually say anything. So they'll be like, in this essay, we are going to examine the fullness of the situation in which the ethical quandaries are explored and uncovered in a. It's like, what in the hell? And that's the rub. It's like that's just shitty writing, whether a human made it or whether an AI made it, and so you will be penalized for that. So I'm sorry if that just sounds like a threat, but I know that like so many people are so interested in AI. I didn't want to just breeze by a section saying yeah it's forbidden without getting into like how would that even be enforced. I'd be curious if I were you. All right. Student dispute resolution. I've never had anyone do this on me. I hope you guys won't be the first. But we do have a formal system if you feel that you have been, treated wrongly, really, in any way. It could be in communication. As you can imagine, when this happens, it's usually grades, like, hey, I feel like, he screwed me over on this grade. So what are you supposed to do when you have a dispute with a professor? One, if you feel comfortable doing so, we obviously encourage you to come to the professor first. I've sat down with students many times. I've changed grades after discussions with students. It's not like it never happens or anything like that. So we would encourage you to pursue that. If you have already talked to me and we didn't come to a resolution you like, or if you don't feel comfortable coming to me for any reason, we've got I'm pointing like you can see it, but on the syllabus we have hyperlink you can follow, like it's an actual form you fill out. To my knowledge, it lets you kind of go up the totem pole I mentioned earlier. You could talk to my department head. If you don't get a resolution there, you could talk to our dean. Actually, I don't know if we have a dean right now. You talk to a dean, maybe. This could go up to the vice president or even president, maybe. But typically people get some kind of resolution they need before then. And again, no one's done it to me. I hope y'all won't be the ones. All right, campus resources. We do obviously encourage you to contact our accommodations department if you have any documented disabilities for which accommodations may be appropriate. That's a lot of alliteration in it. So we've got an email address there. We've got a phone number there. So I do want to encourage you to do that for a variety of reasons. With that being said, as online students, most of what you would get from accommodation resources is already sort of built in, if you know what I mean. Like, because one, I already gave the game away that we don't really do tests or anything in here. So you don't have to worry about like time and a half. It's things like quiet, environments. You're at your house. You can create, quiet environment. You need extra time. It's like, hey, we have these due dates on here. You can always ask me for extra time. So I still want you to fill that out. It will help you out, especially if you're doing face-to-face stuff. But I do want to let you know, as online students, a lot of my class design already kind of bakes that in for everybody. Student counseling services. So we've got a partnership with Bridgeway Center. There's a hyperlink here. There's a phone number here. Basically, by being a student enrolled in this college, you're eligible to receive an initial assessment and up to 5 therapeutic sessions with a behavioral health provider. I think you can go in, talk to them on phone. There might even be an online thing, and up to the 5 therapeutic sessions. That's free. We know it's a stressful world. Classes, college classes that just adds to the stress in many cases. So it's important to know that you have that. Children in the classroom, don't do it, which is also how you end up not getting children that would run around the classroom. In all seriousness, you're in your own homes. I'm probably not going to see your kids, but I mean, if we do a video call and there's a kid running around in the background, that's your house. I'm not gonna. I don't know. There's lots of the syllabus. It's like they're online students, but I have to include this section. Link to the handbook. Welcome to class. All right. Now, true to my word, you bet I forgot about it, didn't you? So I've got a thing here for you to please read Alice Munro, Boys and Girls. So if you've got our handy book in hand, it is on page 346. But I want to let you know, and this is true of much of the stuff on here. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that this is online. Like, you can just Google Alice Munro Boys and Girls full text or something like that, and you'll get a copy. So I mentioned that because, hey, if you're looking at the syllabus, I'm telling you now on Monday, August 21st, to read this. And then it's something that, we might be posting discussions and other stuff on in the next couple of days. But you might be somebody who just found out, I've got to get that book, and you go order it somewhere online. You might not have I don't want you to feel like you got to get overnight shipping or something crazy on your book. So reading it online is fine. If you have trouble finding it, let me know. And speaking of letting me know, I'm going to sign off all my videos like this. You're going to probably get annoyed, but it is what it is. If you have any questions, any concerns, any difficulties, yada, 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 please feel free to email me. Please feel free to text me at 863-835-2399. I'm looking forward to learning more about you, hearing from you, and hope you have a great semester. Bye.